Welcome back to Fist Entertainment for my review of 1985's A View to a Kill. This is part of the James Bond collection on Blu-ray here. Talk about the plot of the film, the Rose opinion of the film, my opinion of the film, which will definitely shock you. And talk about the audio and video quality of the Blu-ray disc and give the film a ranking. After recovering a microchip from the blood body of a deceased colleague in Russia, British Secret Service agent James Bond discovers that the technology has the potential for sinister applications. Investigating further, Bond is led to Max Zorin, played by Christopher Walken, the head of Zorin Industries. Soon, Agent 007 faces off against a venomous Zorin and his tough Amazonian bodyguard, Mayday, played by Grace Jones, who are scheming to cause massive destruction that will eliminate the competition. Okay, A View to a Kill. Terrell's opinion. Every single James Bond fan, I'm telling you, every single James Bond fan puts this movie quite literally, if it's not at number 25 at the bottom of the James Bond film list in a ranking, is right above Diamonds Are Forever. People really do not like this movie. And their reasons for it is that Roger Moore is way too old to play James Bond in this film. Grant, I agree with you. He's way too old to play James Bond in this film. And that's probably the only thing about this film that I don't like, is the fact that Roger Moore is too old to play James Bond in this film. That's it. That's the only thing I agree with. They also think that the plot is a little lazy. I do not agree with that. Like I said, the only thing I agree with when it comes to the real's opinion is that that Roger Moore is too old to play James Bond. Now let's go on to my opinion. Yes, Roger Moore is too old to play James Bond in this film. And what kind of throws you off a little bit is all the stunt doubles. He has like probably about 6 or 7, maybe even 8 or 10 stunt doubles in this film. Every time there's a stunt that has to be done in this movie, it's not Roger Moore doing it. You can very visibly see that it's not Roger Moore doing it. And that does throw it off. I will definitely say that. And the idea of basically a 57, 58-year-old man going ahead and having sex with a 27 to 32-year-old woman definitely is a little weird. But, you know, that was weird back in 1985. Unfortunately, although I would never ever do this, but unfortunately, in this day and age, in this world that we live in, that is not so uncommon anymore, and it's very weird. Nice. I feel for that. Everything else about this movie is definitely top notch. I would say that this has one of the best villains in any James Bond movie. I mean, Christopher Walken is phenomenal in this movie. Christopher Walken is so good at playing a villain in this movie that he steals the movie from Roger Moore. People that watch A View to a Kill, like me, for example, I get more of a thrill and more of enjoyment out of watching the villain in this movie and watching the henchman. I think that Christopher Walken is phenomenal. I think that Grace Jones does a great job. And what's crazy about it is Grace Jones is a woman, and she's smaller than Bond, and she's standing toe to toe with Bond the entire time. I think it's awesome. I also do like the darker theme of the movie. I think this one's a lot more violent than most of the Roger Moore films. A little bit more closing into that PG-13 rating versus PG. And yeah, it's a little more sinister than the previous films. I think where it falls short for me is it's the fact that it just has a little bit of a genericness to it. But at the same rate, though, I'm going to defend the hell out of this movie because I think it's a great James Bond film. If you want to put a random James Bond movie on, not because you had a bad day, not because you need to escape from reality, but just because you want to watch a James Bond film at random, This is the type of movie you put in. Because it has all the elements, you have a lot of fun with it. It's also very Fleming, this particular Bond adventure. But no, I do not understand the hate of this movie. I really don't. Once you look past the fact that Roger Moore is too old to play James Bond and just put that aside and watch the rest of the movie. Pay attention to the flow of the film. Go ahead and pay attention to the villain and the henchman. You're gonna love this film. And I also might add, this Christopher Walken was so good at playing a villain in this movie that this film quite literally launched a career change of Christopher Walken playing villains in movies. You see, before A View to a Kill, he didn't play villains in the films. In fact, people that are a fan of At Close Range, I can guarantee you 110% that if it weren't for him playing a James Bond villain in this movie, A View to a Kill, he would have never have been offered or even considered to play the villain in 1986's At Close Range. It would never have happened. He got that role to play that really bad villain that we all hate in At Close Range because of this movie, A View to a Kill. So yeah, a lot of good came out of this film. People don't think about that either. So now let's talk about the audio and video quality. This is pretty much about the same as the last two James Bond films. It has that Metro color 1980s aesthetic about it. It has really good picture. It also has very good audio on this one. And the audio keeps getting up all the time. When it comes to giving this film a ranking, this is where it gets very interesting, people. This is where it gets very, very, very interesting. I'm going to give this film 3.5 stars. Yes, I'm giving this film more stars than the previous two reviews. I'm giving it more stars than For Your Eyes Only and Octopussy. Actually, I'll take it back. That's the last film. Yeah, take it back. I'm giving it more stars than the last film. I'm giving it 3.5 instead of 3 stars. Last film we get 3 stars too. So that's my review of A View to a Kill. I hope everybody enjoyed. I definitely enjoy defending this movie, and I always will. And I will see you guys next time for next review. Until then.